So friends, Fred Kaps, Cardini. First thing that comes to mind, which one's your favorite?
God, that's tough.
Hard. That's a tough one. That's tough.
It's weird, right? Because when we think of Cardini, we think of the ultimate perfect manipulation, stage manipulation act of a person.
With a great character.
Well, that's it. I mean, it really all comes together. You know, when we see even the great Tom Sony, you know, we're seeing something that is an echo of Cardini, because as you're going to see, Cardini, sure, it's black and white and sure, it's silent, but you're seriously watching basically a drunken gentleman come home to his flat in London, and basically as he's schnackered trying to take off his gloves and get himself settled, all this stuff happens to him, magic with cards and cigarettes, and it's just astonishing how natural and powerful and believable it is. It really just looks like a drunk guy who can't tell if he's hallucinating or not as all this magic is happening. Fred Kaps was considered by many to be the best all-around magician of his era.
Yeah, definitely. His name was Richard Pitchford.
Mm-hmm.
He chose the name Cardini as his stage name. And just in case, you know, you guys aren't aware of this, the Eni, adding the Eni to the end of anything was kind of like a magic legacy thing that people did for a long time. So Houdini started it.
Well, doesn't it mean like
Randy, you know, the owner of the Genie, the tech mogul who purchased Genie is a Pitchford. And so he's got a family connection.
I did not know that.
So you were saying, Steve, you were getting back to Robert Houdin and Harry.
Yeah,
Houdin?
I think that's right, isn't it? It's when you add I to the end of it, is it French? Someone check me. It means like, so when Houdini did it, it was like Houdin.
No. That's interesting. So like if I was trying to practice dressing like Adam, I could call myself Gracini.
Yes, exactly. And you would be like Grace, which would mean you have no grace. So, you know, I don't know.
You could be Vernini. If you were Vernini, then
you could be Bernini.
Yeah, Bernini.
All right. As opposed to, you know, well, Little Gaffis. Different.
Loini. That doesn't quite work.
What was that? Lomini? That's like little.
Yeah, Lomini.
Right. Okay. So what do we got queued up first? I think we decided, do we want to start with Cardini or do we want to start with Kaps?
Yeah, let's start with Cardini, because this is a really famous, if you've never seen this is a real big treat for you today. This is the performance of Cardini when this was in 1957, okay? And he was 62 years old when he appeared on one of the very few magic television shows that are still in existence to this day that show any footage of Cardini. This might be the only one, but it's called The Festival of Magic. And it's a very famous bit of footage of the entirety of Cardini's act. So the giant book that was written about Cardini was taken not only from Cardini's own notes and all the work that was studied about him, but they studied this exact footage that you're about to see frame for frame.
This is the act in its most full sense.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's check it out. Here we go. Let me just cue this up. I think you guys are going to love this, especially if you've never seen it before. Okay, here we go.
Good example of what the very best in the universe would look like if you could see it.
All right, can you see that?
Mm-hmm. High def. And so to me. Wow! Stop right there.
Yeah.
Just a couple things. He's wearing his gloves, right?
Yes.
You know that story, right?
Real quick, I want to hear the story. The first thing I want everyone to just know is I believe that page boy there was Swan, Mrs. Cardini. right? I'm not sure, but I
Mhm.
believe so. Second, he's doing those card productions with gloves on, y'all. It's just a
Mhm.
level of skill which people can't even fathom. So what's the story, Steve?
So if I'm not mistaken, the reason why he's can do it with gloves is because he was in the trenches in World War One, I believe, and was practicing card manipulations in the trenches wearing gloves because it was freezing. And that's how he practiced. And so that gave him that ability to do that.
Really interesting. Benny Haney, who's a great
Another
Super
veteran.
Bowl vision, and he did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam, and he was in some very sticky stuff. But he was another guy that would practice in his foxhole literally
Mm-hmm.
For a long time. I mean, just for anyone who's ever learned how to do card productions, the idea of doing those in gloves. Adam, you used to be a manip artist. Did you get very far in your attempts to do it in gloves?
I remember I tried only a couple of times. It is not you don't have the feel. I mean, you really need to be able to feel every nerve in your fingers to be able to do really great back palms and card production. So I can say I never had any success with gloves on.
Yeah, it's got to be impossible.
I'm just curious. Let's take a quick poll in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're not even familiar with the idea of how to produce a fan of cards from your hand. Because it's the kind of thing, Adam, where if you were almost able to just snap 1 or 2 cards out and let people see what that is.
Yeah,
Then when you start to see how he's making these fans of cards appear out of nowhere, the absolute improbability of anyone being able to do such a thing, I think almost makes it even better. Steve, were you going to give us a little demo? It looks like if there's some 1s in there. Why don't you show the people?
Well, Adam did a whole training on this in the back room.
I know. I just want to give the people.
I gave away this skill because when I do that, that finger locks.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I can't. But I used to be able to do it.
That's 1 card. So now imagine being able to do that with a whole fan. And of course, the idea of the split fan is being able to, under this beautiful cover of being able to dump the cards out, you can really just dump a few of those cards out while the rest
go back.
I don't know if you can walk people through just a visual of what that is.
I can grab some cards and do it. I don't have a deck right here.
I think if people could see it, I mean, this is a total freshie. It would just be so wrong to do. But just the principle, if you have a big fan, and then as you throw, you keep them. I'm not gonna snap them back there, right? And then you can continue doing it. You do it several times because when just a few fall out of your hand, it really looks like a bunch. Now, as we head into the next bit, think about that. And this man in gloves, because I can give you a hint, folks. You try that same thing in white evening gloves, and you're going to find it doesn't work at all. Because it's hard. Woo. Empty hand, yo. Ooh, smaller.
Amazing.
Just pull that fan out of his shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, with some great misdirection there.
Yeah, that was really great.
You know, you're gonna go on to see that, like when we watched like Lance Burton and you know some of the modern day like card manip guys, like they took the choice pieces from Cardini's act. You know,
Every bit that they could port over, they did.
yeah, yeah, those choice pieces though. They're like the appearance of two fans and the disappearance of one of them. You know, the just very specific things out of Cardini's act.
Everything that you could say was in Tarbell is in Tarbell.
Yeah.
You know, one other interesting thing, his character is so clear that in the old books, you used to see pictures of the New York guys hanging out. You'd see Cardini and Vernon and the guys hanging out. But Cardini was always hard to spot because he didn't look like his character at all. He's just a dude hanging out with a smile on his face. And you basically got this monocled gent, this loaded monocled gent with his face on. And whenever you see him at rest, he doesn't look like this guy, right? As we get started here, George Madrid has been very clever to note. I think we all love the set piece of the drunk sleeping man in the hotel.
Yes.
Let's fire it back up.
All right, let's do it.
There it is. We get the little cover from the white glove. The kind of thing you can do is if you do the glove thing, you can take off the glove.
Mm-hmm.
What? 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 You get the side jacket.
You know, and to like that single card production, definitely too hard to do with a glove on. I think even Cardini realized he had to save that for when he took the glove off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. That's a good notice right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're 1/3 of the way through his act. So I would say it's safe to say he's got a structure here, and he has just done the card sequence where he took off the gloves and then he did that big finish with the single productions in the fan, right?
Yeah.
Very curious if you look at it that way. We'll see what's next. I'm sure all the great manipulation artists of all time have diagrammed this thing down to the moment. Effect by effect. Ah, now it's time for smoke. Adam, what's happening there? Is that a...
So it's the cigarette holder and the cigarette.
What's happening with the monocle?
Well, it's gone right now.
That whole sequence, we could just watch it over.
Yeah, I mean, that's just amazing what went on right there.
Yeah.
Now it's back.
We back it up a little bit.
Yeah, and talk me through what's happening in the first bit.
Yeah, it's so well choreographed that it's hard to even follow, even as a magician. Like it's hard to follow. Steve?
I said, I think what's going to happen is he's going to vanish the cigarette, right? And then it appears back in the cigarette holder.
Mm-hmm.
But intermingled in all of that is the vanishing of the monocle.
Right.
Does that seems like what's going on?
Yeah, the cigarette holder is vanishing, the cigarette's vanishing, they're changing places, and the monocle keeps disappearing, and he can't keep up with any of it.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just trying to get at what point it vanishes and what.
Yeah, it's hard to see because of the tape, but the really cool thing here is the cigarette holder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how that whole thing is constructed. It's very clever.
It is.
Huh. See if you guys can get anything clear that we can point to it in terms of.
Cigarette.
Gone.
Now he's got a cigarette holder.
There
He puts that in there, and we're gonna smoke. There's his monocle, and it was immediately gone. Now
it literally vanished immediately. And I think maybe he's dropping on the chain. And he goes to look at this. Right.
Yeah. So the monocle is literally just tied to that chain.
And he's shocked by the appearance, and he goes to look at it, and it drops.
And it falls out. I don't think it's so much vanishes. I think you're right, Aaron.
Bit. Okay. So, but it is vanishing out of the holder and appearing back in the holder. And he's using his eye business to highlight that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't really ever see the monocle drop because he's got it so well choreographed too that it almost looks like it's disappearing.
Looks like it's disappearing, but it's actually just sort of a freebie, right? Let's take it back one more time and see if we can, because then there's that one where he jams it in his ear.
Yeah.
And I think it's appearing right in the cigarillo tip there, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Oh.
So then there's two for a second there, right? Oh no, it vanished back, yeah. There it is.
There. Whoa. Whoa. Did that lit match just vanish from hand to hand twice?
Yeah, it did.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Again, it's so beautifully choreographed that
he went to strike it and it was gone and lit in his other hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it jumped back.
Yeah.
It's quite little magic. You know what I mean? It's very powerful, but it's also very little.
We've talked over the years about how useful it can be when you can't have an object to look at to the right or left to draw someone's focus. How it can be very useful to, you've got a thing here and you can, you push up your glasses. But he's using that monocle as a whole universe of justification for everything. Putting it in, taking it out, like reacting to whatever just happened with it. He can use it to cover anything. So let's take it one more time. Let's watch those jumping lit matches. There's aspects of this routine, y'all, I have to admit that having you here to help me is making it so much easier for me to take it in moment to moment. It's so much better with friends.
You're right. Yeah, so he's just trying to get his cigarette lit. That's the premise.
So what happened? It vanished. That's what happened.
That just kept disappearing, yeah.
Oh. I think he might have this. Yeah, he had a palm, like a thumb palm lit match. Ah!
Here we go.
Boom!
This is so good we did a cutaway.
Yeah. Need 5 entries, huh?
They had some serious ashtrays back in the day.
Yeah. Like it's back in his mouth.
Yeah.
Need a good reel.
Oh my god. Don't ever notice how much like proto Mullica energy you show?
Just thinking
Oh.
the exact same thing. Yep.
Yeah, totally.
But you hadn't thought it before now, right?
I had not. No,
But you are now, right?
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
Just to tell everybody what we're thinking, like late era Mullica with his cigarette act, like there's the very first crumbles of innovation are right here in Cardini's act for a lot of what Mullica was doing in his very famous cigarette act.
There's
Faces and the reaction to the cigarette being where it shouldn't be and in your face.
Yeah, I think this is really great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Oh, it's in your eye.
Dude likes to smoke. That was why that guy said.
Awesome.
Don't you feel?
Twice
Don't you feel like standing and applauding?
I have a couple thoughts about that I think are interesting. One, it's like everything in that act pretty much he practiced in the foxhole. Everything, not just the cards. It's all stuff you could just have in your pockets, you know? And that really there, I would argue, is the first step to what we expect modern magic to be now. It's not just the trick, it's everything that's layered on top of it. You know, it's the character, it's what's happening in this moment. It's, you know, it's not just simply the trick. You know, it's the play. It's what goes on above it. So I think that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard to say because you're definitely like the stuff where he's inebriated is definitely more heavy in the first part of Cardini's act.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's because he really needs to establish that that's what's going on. But the manipulation of the balls, the cigarettes,
Unbelievable.
the pipes, I mean, all of it is so unbelievable that it's even hard to. I mean, the man was in his mid 60s when he was performing that. And so, I mean, it's hard to ever imagine I would have an act that good. That's all I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
how
really.
many years would it take to choreograph something that unbelievably good?
Better than that, how many times would you have quit on that act and started something new? Right? I mean, that's what you're seeing. There's a lifetime of work for that 9 minutes right there.
A lifetime
you would have
of
quit
work.
10 times over.
Of course, not even fair to say a lifetime of work, because a lifetime of work won't get that for you unless you happen to be this guy. And you know, the only thing that is big about the act is his energy and how he plays it. It is really, truly a billiard ball. It's not even a multiplying billiard ball routine. He's using it as a single object, transpositions, appearances, disappearances, and then some beautiful stuff to watch, which is really interesting because he's really playing this drunkard thing. And it's almost, as you're watching it in any clip, you might think, oh, maybe he made a mistake there, because there's room for him to make mistakes because the whole thing is a mistake. None of it's supposed to be happening. So there's a lot of times where it looks like, you know, this wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't supposed to happen. Of course, it's all part of the character. But, you know, then he's got this huge interplay with it that really makes it play. At the end, he throws away his cigarette twice because he doesn't want to take one. Turns out that's because he wants a pipe. And then for the very last bit, he'd rather have your pipe. Snakes this guy's big Sherlock pipe and leaves, right? Now, Fred Kaps certainly worked on stage. I'm very curious to see, because Fred Kaps was known for close-up and stand-up and really just so much perfect stuff, almost like Vernon's corollary on the world stage. And I wonder, Adam, what's our first piece to watch there?
Well, we actually only are going to watch one piece, and it's similar because we found Kaps's stage act, his actual. You're right, Mystic. He's pure class, and this act shows it. Kaps on stage is fantastic, and this clip that we're going to watch is a pretty famous routine of his, and it's called the sleeveless routine, but you'll see why. You'll see why. I don't want to ruin it. So why don't we just jump in and watch it?
Kaps did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he really did. All right, let me share this, and here we go.
Uncut.
Yeah. Yeah. They cut away that just right when the great vanish happened.
Yeah, right.
That was bad live editing at its worst.
Yeah. Notice how quick this act is moving. I mean, it started with that cane thing, but things are picking up here. He understood the significance of fire.
Cat. A cat wallet. Ooh, flash cat. I've never seen it live. Maybe not. Big old coin and some bills, right?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Boom. Boom. Man. Those coins look like they're big office.
Yeah, here's the finale. Here,
Oh,
here it comes.
good.
Did you catch that? That was awesome, right? Watch that.
Mhm.
Watch this. Just back it up like just a little bit.
Yeah. That's how he throws them away.
We'll turn the volume off. I mean, this production here at the end, and then watch. I mean,
Boom, boom, boom. Thrown away.
and they
No,
cut
they
away.
cut away.
Look
Oh.
at that. Oh, look at
Look
that
at that.
still. That still was perfect. And watch the box. Boom, and that's it. Great little cue points there. All of it's really great.
Every time he's throwing those coins away through that whole sequence, it really feels like they're going away.
Mhm.
And so once you just sort of get to the point where you understand that when he's throwing away, maybe he's not throwing them away,
Yeah.
realize like what's, these stuff looks so magical in both of these guys. It looks so magical. You're likely not to think there's anything skillful happening because it's just happening. And it's like when we were saying about talking about what a split fan is. It's only once you have a little bit of an idea of what's happening that the actual intensity of how amazing what the guy is doing is begins to be clear to you. Maybe that's what it is for magicians, though. I can't even wait to see what's next in the
The
sleeveless.
skill level is just off the charts.
You know it's weird to me, Steve. Like it's not weird because we've come to like understand it, appreciate it. But like this idea that a guy gets on stage, music gets turned on, there's music, and then he just starts doing stuff, right? Like you're gonna watch, you as an audience, you're gonna watch me do stuff, and I'm gonna fumble around, not fumble around, but I'm gonna play with coins first, and I'm gonna do things with those, a little of this, a little of that. It's just an interesting concept because it's not really participate. The audience doesn't really participate; they just watch, and that style of magic, it comes straight down through even my mentor Frank Brentz. I mean, that is how a lot of people approached performing on stage.
So let me throw out my idea here, and you guys can pick it apart. Back, especially now, it's like you're watching this. There were a lot of spots available for guys to do 10 minutes and get paid. right? Supper clubs, nightclubs, variety shows. Like now, if there's a variety show, it's in Vegas, really, right? There are no variety shows in New York, but in the 40s through the 60s, there were a lot of nightclubs that had shows, singers. And so there's a lot of opportunity for an act like this, for an act where you could walk on in front of the bandstand and the band would play some music and then you just, do what you do. And if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going out on a limb here, I don't think stand-up comedy was as popular in the 40s and 50s as it became in the late 60s, where when you think about entertainment now, there's only three kinds of entertainment for any person really, which is an actor, a comedian, or a musician. They don't think really past that as far as entertainment very much anymore. So I think that's where you have this act that exists in this bubble, right? The band's going to play some music. You just come out and do some stuff when the band takes a break, kind of thing. You have 10 minutes, and that's where the 12-minute Dove Act comes from, right?
Yeah, it is. You're right. I mean, all those
hop on, do 12 minutes. It's perfect for that. It's really flashy. Everybody can see it, and you have to do it immediately. You can't like load up your Dove Act and wait 3 hours.
Right.
You have to do it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's perfect for that. And that's where it comes from. So I know I'm doing all the blabbing today. So I think the other two interesting things. One, he feels no obligation to perform to the music. The music is just happening in the background. He's not punctual. He's just performing.
I was going to ask you guys, is there any chance that was his music, or is that literally, give me something up tempo, boys?
Yeah.
No. That's totally what that is, right?
Like my mentor, Frank Brentz, he worked the cruise line industry towards the end of his career, and he didn't care what music was used. I mean, it was just whatever you got, guys, make it up tempo and jazzy. I mean, that was his request.
And then some come with their own sheets. Some magicians would go with their own sheets they'd give to the band and be like, this is my music.
We get the impression that Cardini's act was not that at all.
No.
Right? That was his exact music.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Whenever I see this Fred Kaps with the cane, it just bothers me so much, because I thought to myself, if I ever came upon that problem, right, which is, we all know what's going on. It's a Walsh Vanishing cane, classic in the newspaper. And, there's a reason we're going for the magic wiffle dust, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to expose it, but we all know why we're going for the magic wiffle dust.
We all know what a Walsh Vanishing cane is.
Do you not?
No, I don't. It's never been part of my thing.
Okay, well, that's what it is. But anyway, his solution is, I'm going to go to my pocket for the magic salt.
Right.
Right. Which I don't think I could ever.
Oh, I like the salt.
And when he does it, it works.
Patassi still use it all the time too. And
who did?
Paul Patassi.
Oh yeah, did he?
Yeah, but I used to think probably it was because his name was like Potassio.
Yeah.
Potassium. Yeah, that's why. That makes sense. You can explain that away.
I always used to think that, I think the whole thing is so whimsical. I think once you're on making jumbo coins appear from a piece of silk, right? I feel like once you're in that space, taking a magical salt shaker and pouring it on top does not strike me as a major leap from the.
You might be right.
It's interesting as an opener, though. Like, just to come right out of the gates like that, I think is really interesting.
I think it's interesting.
Let's press on. Here we go.
Public trick. Oh,
right into it. That.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Sorry, it's a little extra though. What the? Wait a second. I'm sorry.
I love the metaphor here.
Gets the band going again. So great.
Like how he's trying to get ahead. Right.
It's so great.
I don't know what it is about this lady. I feel like that lady might be the Queen of Holland or something.
He's the groupie.
You guys are really seeing how the salt stick works now. Oh.
I don't think that's his wife because she wouldn't be clapping. She's seen it 1,000 times. She'd be like, "Is he done yet?"
Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's
that
fantastic.
great.
Isn't that incredible? Wasn't that great?
Yeah. It's really great. Like that. I've seen someone else do that. Steel, I guess use that Kaps, sort of
Salt gimmick.
Yeah, that use that exact thing where, the salt won't quit coming out of their hand and he's trying to hide it in his pockets and get rid of it. It's really funny. And I wish I could say I thought of that, because I think it's just a brilliant little bit and it looks so magical and it's pretty amazing. I was just going to say, Richard Dean says that's his wife. Yeah.
And she's still clapping.
We were talking recently about about how all the guys started doing the swallowing a balloon trick, the sword swallowing with the balloon, and we were talking about how small it is, how big it plays, and while it's got a certain look to it, which isn't for me, and it's not for a lot of folks, but it's for it. If you're looking around trying to figure out what you can take out and do in your show that actually fits like how much you can carry with you at all, you start opening your mind to things and saying, well, could it be? Anyway, could it be for me? And, the salt pour is sort of the most lovely example in the universe of a trick because, it just looks like a lot more salt is coming out at one moment than it is. And it allows you to make it go as long as you can. And that can be quite a good long time. But talk about a trick that is so wonderful. I mean, it's a little harder than that balloon trick to do. But man, is it a trick that really plays huge. You can really see it.
Yeah.
Adam, have you ever heard this? I was told by an old-timey magician that the secret to that is popcorn salt. Have you ever heard that?
No, I haven't heard that.
It's different than like your regular iodized salt. It's more flaky. Oh. So you can really pack the gimmick.
I think you still have to really get it down. I mean, there's a lot of...
Oh, there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, it would be very fine. I mean, because you're definitely controlling, like the valve is your pinky, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So what's interesting, because I've played around with the salt pour too, and there's a few different ways that you can do it, but his vanish. I mean, that vanish that he does when he vanishes the salt is just brilliant handling. He's got to turn his body, and I don't know, but it looks like to me that he has to turn his body so he can get the gimmick turned around the right way, right, in his hand, because he's got to reposition it. But that controlling of the pour is the pinky, and so you don't really know when it's going to end. I mean, there's no buzzer inside that's going to beep when it's got 10% left.
Actually, I don't know if you know this, but there's a new one out now with an LED, so you can tell when it's about to.
Are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
But I wouldn't put it past him, It's one of these tricks are like these particular tricks. They're almost like zero satisfaction to practice them at home watching TV. They're like practice light, rehearsal heavy.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing, you got to be up on your feet in a rehearsal space working for a living. That's why they're not tricks for amateurs. You know what I mean?
I mean, then you got to like load. You got to have the bucket of salt in your rehearsal space. You're always loading in the bucket of salt so you can practice your salt, and then dumping it into the bucket so you can reload.
You already got that room in the back of your house where that anyone goes in there is going to get a terrible disease from the birds.
Yeah.
The room is already like set up with the bird smell and everything. At least there's a lot of, it's really, you want to start like serial murder and stage manips. You really want to consider having a drain and a slightly angled floor so that you can just do a lot of drainage stuff in there. You know what I mean?
You just hose the place down.
That's right. You know, you really need to be set up for certain kinds of industrial grade murder and stage magic. Very
Well, you can like Airbnb it for that other purpose.
Oh yeah, but you're going to need to practice more than that. That's what I'm saying. You're going to have to you're going to be going through a lot of salt before you start thinking, let me throw it into my show. Now, when you meet a person that's like, I learned the salt pour. I've really been working at it this week. I'm going to put it up next week. It's going to be great. And you're like, I wonder how you've got it down to practice it so efficiently. Same with that egg bag. You remember when we were with Scott Alexander? Fred Kaps is like another
egg bag
egg bag guy, right? One of the ones you want to see in all the world. You're dealing with a fellow that could take these classic simple tricks, which are not simple in the slightest. They're actually so not simple that it takes 10 years of practicing with them before you begin to realize how not simple they are. You know what I mean? Another 10 before they start to come together. You know, Fred Kaps was like this with everything. And that's what he was known for time and time again, is the level of detail that would go into any single effect he did.
Well, not only that, even his own name. I mean, his actual name wasn't Fred Kaps. It was Abraham Bongers. And
really?
He's a Dutch magician. And Fred Kaps chose the name Fred Kaps because he wanted a last name that would sound crisp in any language that it was said, because he performed all over the world. So he chose the word Kaps because no matter what language you spoke, it really pops out there, right?
Like clear view, but more concise.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, yeah. So this is a guy, if you want to learn more about Fred Kaps, just know he's a 3-time FISM winner. He was a Grand Prix FISM winner 3 times. And also, yeah, which is not easy. And if you want to look up some of Fred's other really, really famous illusions that he did, check out the dancing and floating cork. That is a renowned Kaps trick throughout the world. Everybody loved that. Great magician. I would say I can't believe we have not featured him yet, because he is one of the masters.
He is, and he's a European, and it's one of the things where, by and large, the Europeans are more intimately acquainted with his work in the same way we are here with Vernon in the United States. You know,